We're like, there's gonna be a start gate and an epic view. And here it is.
It is track walk day here in Lake Placid, and normally we'd go into the pits and ask the mechanics and the riders if they've lifted the bars a bit, or if they got a new prototype this or that, or how many grams of lead have they put in their crank axle. But no, we have a brand new track here in Lake Placid, and we managed to nail down the guy that helped design it. We're going to stick a radio mic on Gwin, go down the hill, find out all the cool insights, and see if he's got any sneaky lines that we can ghost tomorrow for Inside the Tape. Let's go.
We are out here at Whiteface Mountain, Lake Placid, New York. Round 9 of the World Cup Series, I think. Just doing World Cup track walk, man. Excited. I've been fortunate to be able to help on this project, so it's crazy that today is finally here and everybody's getting to see the track besides me, so pretty sweet. Rail it! I'm gonna kind of look a little and I'll pay attention a little, but I think it's so soft, it's really gonna depend on like where everything burns in at, because it's gonna change a lot. I walked with the group a year ago and kind of was like, hey, here's my vision, this is where the track is, this is kind of how we're gonna try to do stuff, but I know that was way more the trail builders and the mountain that were working with those groups. I was just kind of on the design side, and I was kind of brought in to like design the general layout of the course and then just like oversee the build out. I would say like I was kind of the bumpers on the project a little bit because it's a brand new track. I don't think anybody that had worked on this track had built a World Cup course before. So I was kind of just here to like make sure the course build was gonna be like when we got done and they got here this week, that it was gonna be like a World Cup caliber track and there wasn't gonna be anything like too sketchy or weird. We're almost to the first mogul section. And it is sick. You can double out of it and land by the pad. Doubling into it would be aggressive. You go roll double here, not double roll. Yeah, big part of what I like in a race course, and obviously like you have to kind of take what every mountain gives you. Not every hill's the same. So some tracks to build a 50-foot wide track is not like doable. But what I really liked about this hill is especially the zone that we had to build through in here. This is like called the Glades. So we had a little more freedom. Like it's already sort of a low cut. You can see there's big trees, but not a lot of brush. So this is kind of like a zone for skiing. So we had more freedom in here, and like the pitch of the mountain is really cool. It's not like insanely steep. Like it's got a good combo, but it's like what I like in a track is a track that's super wide, has a lot of line choices. Like it kind of allows every rider to be creative and move around, and I feel like it creates a little bit of separation. It's also, I think, funner to watch because you see riders that are riding different lines, and like people come up with some stuff where you're like, whoa, I never thought of that, like that's cool. And I tried to make this top wood section, it's probably the first minute and a half of the track, like pretty busy, because once you get through it, the second half of the track is like definitely more straightforward. And you kind of get into this right out of the start gate when you're like fresh and full of energy. So yeah, I tried to make the top like pretty full on, like a lot of choices. I think things are gonna wear in really fast and get rough, and you're gonna have to like it's gonna change. Like the lines that you think are like the good line at the start of practice, by the time you get to the race might not be, because they'll just be clapped. So you might be able to like move around a little more. So you kind of gotta keep an eye on it. I try to make the track confusing where there's like not an obvious line that stuck out to me as the winner, because if I can see it, like these guys are so good, like the people that race World Cups now, that if you make it obvious, that will be the main line. And now you've just made a 50-foot track that everybody rides down 6 inches. So when I did do a little bit of test riding and just walking up and down the hill and the track as many times as I did, I stared at these course positions or the poles, because they were actually in the ground like months ago. And I'd be like, oh, I'll move that over a foot. And then I'd stand there and look at it and like walk back and forth. And then the next day I'd walk by and I'm like, it needs to go another foot that way. And I tried to put things in a spot where I'm like, man, I don't know what's gonna be better, like left or right or this line or that. And as soon as it got to a point where I couldn't tell what one was going to be better, and I was like, well, I'm going to need to test it out and time it or something, which I never did, then I just left the poles there. So today when I walked the track, I was like, okay, this is weird. Now I'm looking at this trying to actually find a winner when I purposely designed it to be really hard to figure out which line was the clear winner. So now I've got to figure it out kind of the same as everybody else. I have it in my head what the options are. Like I know what it looks like. Kind of go more inside and like just double into the turn and then hit the corner. I tried to make it kind of have some options in case it was a full mudder too, because some of those lines through the big holes would have been aggressive in the mud. Dude, since I was like 3 years old, I'd come home from school. Like I remember, I think I was 3 or 4, and I grew up in the desert where it never rains, and one day it rained really hard, and I was just starting to ride BMX, and my parents were like, let's go, we're building jumps in the yard. So we had jumps in the yard from when I was like 4, and then all through grade school, junior high, high school, like every day I got home from school, I would just go outside and ride and build jumps in the yard till dark. So I've always just like loved shoveling and building tracks and trails. It's like one of my favorite things. So we've done that a bit in California, like with some downhill tracks when I used to live out there, like building training trails and stuff. And those have always been some of my favorite days, just big days on the hill shoveling. So that's kind of why we took over Windrock, because I just love building trails, and it's just like, I don't know, like I said, I love it. So this was a super cool opportunity for me to be able to like build a World Cup track, help design it. Like I had an awesome trail crew and everybody did a great job, but to be able to kind of like lay it out and like kind of put my spin on it, it was super fun. Like I love doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm stoked I had the opportunity to do it. That's why like I wanted that tree to go, because then you could have like, you could go right next to the tree and it would keep the lines like less awkward, but it would be like, you still couldn't go over it, but at least you'd have the bar clearance. Yeah, that's part of the old trail. The OG, pretty funny. It's funny they left that in there. This track, like just to do practice laps on is like, I think will be so fun to ride. There's like a lot of World Cup tracks are good race tracks, but you don't really want to just hammer laps on a Tuesday. This is like a track that you could ride like all day. It's sick. One of the hucks that I kind of want to see somebody do. This is like one of the jumps that I think you could do that would be aggressive. When I built that, I thought of Ronan, and I was like, oh yeah, Ronan will definitely
pull that.
He'll definitely smack his head off the bars for that one. He'd just be like, let's go.
So is there a plan to have trails here?
I think they would like to. They're talking about it. I know a lot of people want to bring it back here, but I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. I know there's like a lot of restrictions, so.
Do you know why they decided to do a World Cup downhill?
I think they just love like sports around here in this area with all the Olympic like history. It's just like a rad place to have bike races. They had the XC right down the road at Mount Hovenberg last year, and I think that went really well and everybody was stoked. So I think they're just like excited to get more like high-end world-class like sporting events here.
I'm super excited to ride this tomorrow, actually. It's like super raw. There's a lot of undulations in the track, and there's just so many options. Like it's actually kind of taking a lot out of me mentally right now, because there's like so much to look at. And every time I go through a section, I think I got my line figured out. I get to the end of the section, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't work. So then you have to walk back up and try to look at it again. But I think trail crew, including Aaron, did a really good job with designing it to where you're kind of forced to have to really think about it, and you're gonna have to choose some lines, because line choice is gonna be like pretty much the game of the weekend. So I'm super excited.
You think there'll be a lot of puzzling tomorrow?
I think it's gonna be more just lines in terms than like compared to speed. Like everyone's just gonna be worried about what the correct flow of the track is, rather than just trying to get up to speed. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna take like all day tomorrow to even know where you're going, and then yeah, hopefully you got enough pace by quali day.
I don't know. You can definitely hook into here like fast into the bottom and not have to check up. It's kind of where your momentum carries you. One of those spots, I think, like see how it develops and try both options. 'Cause I'm not sure. Same thing, like I just kind of if I had the opportunity to keep tweaking stuff, I just kept tweaking it until both lines look the same speed. It's cool to like show up and qualify and like do pretty good, but at the end of the day, like I'm still competitive, and I feel like I know where I could be if I could put everything into it again. And I'd like to kind of give myself that opportunity for these last few years. So that's, like I said, kind of what I want to get back to next year.
So yeah, just finished track walk early this morning. We got up there pretty early, and yeah, track's looking pretty sick. It's gonna cut in quite a bit, and you know, it's gonna change a lot up top, and yeah, some pretty cool jumps and some fast sections down bottom. So it's really got kind of everything, and yeah, looking forward to practice tomorrow. Yeah, there'll be a lot of puzzling as usual. You know, as new lines develop, you know, line spotters are definitely gonna have to have their work cut out for them on, you know, making sure that they're trying to capture as much as possible. So yeah, always big shout out to them for the extra work they put in at these kind of rounds. So, and
there's like 4 options in the middle, so I'm like, I think we just have to time it and figure out which one's gonna be faster, because
it's a wide open section.
Yeah, like outside you can like hook into it really good, but then the next outside it's like kind of far out there and it G's out on the exit. So it like, this is definitely a little slower coming in, but better going out, and that one's the opposite. And then there's middle lines that are like, could be good too, that I haven't even tried yet. So I'm like, I don't know in here.
I obviously like live in America and race in America a lot, and I think it's the best track I've seen in America in a while. So super stoked on that. Cool to have a good one for the World Cup.
When we were first designing the track, we thought about the drop being up here. It was gonna be this big like scaffolding thing that was gonna basically match the deck of the restaurant, and you were gonna land on that as a landing. But after a few days, it's windy like this every afternoon, and I was like, dude, you guys can't do that. I was like, it'll be the biggest drop in the windiest part of the hill. Yeah, the waterfall drop. For this landing, they literally had the wheelbarrow and a power wheelbarrow, like one load at a time from past that bridge down there where the dirt got dropped, because you couldn't really get in here with the machine and like disturb this. The landing eventually got big enough where it was downhill, and I was like, all right, you guys are good. The wheelbarrow for like 5 more days to get a big landing here. Expectations this week, I just want to have fun, man. Like racing in front of the home crowd here in the US at a World Cup is always been really special to me. Like there's nothing like racing at home. So I'm just really excited to be able to do that. I would love to have a great result. I feel like I've been really close to a couple really good results this year. Just had some mistakes in my runs, or like weird things happen. So if I can put together my best run and be up in the top 10 at the very least, I think that would be like a solid weekend for me, and I think I'm definitely capable of it. So we'll see, but I'm just gonna kind of one day at a time. I just want to ride my bike well. Little breeze, I'm like, nah, it's sketchy. So the last jump is like a rally car jump. I'm pretty sure you could jump in the Sprinter van. It's like super mellow takeoff and landing. It's big, but it's like really like well built.
That track looks sick, Aaron. Good job. And top 10? Yeah? Got you in my fantasy team? Top 10? Yeah, top 10.